Liberation theology is the idea that just as Christ went about Galilee, healing the sick, casting out demons, and feeding the hungry who listened to his preaching and teaching, so must the Christian preachers and teachers of today be also about the business of attending to the physical needs of the people they would serve spiritually. This is especially necessary in areas of the world where poverty and illness are systemic and social evils. Latin America is well known for its prominent liberation theologists dating back to the 1960s, but more recently, other areas of the world have also begun reading the Bible not as it was taught to them by the missionaries who accompanied colonial oppressors, but through the lens of their own understandings and needs and traditions. In the past, there's been a lot of tension between evangelicals along with other conservative Christian groups in the face of the challenges liberation theology presents to well-off Christian nations. There are several accusations posed by liberationists against Westerners, especially the USA, that require humility and grace both to hear and to respond to. We've been told that our economic power overwhelms underdeveloped countries and effectively puts many of their citizens into slavery. Theologians from wealthy countries are accused of ignoring the physical realities of living in poverty and sickness because they've never seen or experienced it. Further, in the past, Christians from underdeveloped countries were discouraged from developing their own locally appropriate theologies because it both challenged the supposed universality of Western theology and it brought into the open how the theologies that colonial missionaries taught were designed to keep the masses placated and peaceful in the face of the atrocities that were at times enacted against them. In addition to these issues, the governing bodies of many underdeveloped countries failed to protect their citizens or became violent and oppressive against them in trying to gain access to the power of the United States. As a response to the unregulated capitalistic mindset that allows some to thrive while others slide into increasing poverty, Marxist theories of economic analysis have been held up as beneficial alternatives to capitalism, which can cause Americans to fear that communism is right around the corner. Liberation theology has had some effect in the awakening of social conscience among many people here at home. In Western countries, there has been a social justice movement that's still developing. Martin Luther King Jr. is the face for many people in the US that reminds us that there are many people around us who do not have access to food, healthcare, social and legal services like we do. There have been many theological discussions regarding what effort, if any, Christians should take to relieve the suffering of their neighbors, both nearby and in foreign lands. There is definitely remaining tension between Christians of goodwill as to whether the sole duty of believers is to preach the gospel to all the world, as in the Great Commission, or to also provide food, water, and clothing to the poor, and comfort to prisoners, as Jesus talks about at the end of Matthew 26. As we see more Christian service organizations that provide services to the poor at the same time as proclaiming the gospel, we can see that there are many Christians who take seriously James' admonition from chapter 2, verses 15 and 16. Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? Christians are thinking with deliberation about how to respond to requests, both at home and in other countries, for true equality in matters of access to food, water, and services, and equality in theological approaches. Liberation theology has been a positive force, reigniting the flame of social responsibility in many Christians for whom it had flickered out.